So a continuation from Friday, I am going to further draw what I see, and that means outlining all of these little veins here. Your drawings are all a little bit different from mine, so I understand if yours are not really going to have as many veins in the eyeball as mine does, but the idea is the same. You are outlining as much as you can so that you're able to get those fine details. If you don't outline them now, what's going to happen is you're going to completely forget about them, and then that's going to make your picture much less realistic. What I'm doing is just trying to make sure that I outline all of those little details and following exactly what I see on the paper. What we're doing is learning how to identify different details that maybe you wouldn't have paid attention to in the past. So the nice thing about being able to trace, it is going to give you, open your eyes to the fine details that you would have otherwise probably ignored. Every little detail is outlined in my picture. Now, some of you are going to have animals that have fur, and every single little hair does not necessarily get outlined when it comes to the fur. But for the demonstration that I'm doing now, which happens to be a little lizard, what I am focusing on is just the eyeball, and that's similar for all of you. You're going to see little details such as blood vessels and veins in the eyes. Down here in the bottom, I have a darker area. That darker area is going to still get outlined. If it's an area that's completely black, if you want to shade over it, that would be okay. So for example, this area right here is completely black. So I'm going to go ahead and shade over that. That's not necessarily something you have to do, but what I want you to be able to do is identify the difference between completely black areas and gray areas. From where you sit, this bottom little area probably looks really dark to you. It's actually more or less gray. And this little center area is completely black. I will see no details inside that area. If I know that there's absolutely no details, that's when I feel like it's okay for me to shade it, but it's not necessary. I know that a lot of students find it helpful to shade in the black areas, but again, it's not necessary. So now I'm just going to flip my paper up so you can see the details and be able to identify exactly what kinds of things need to be outlined. The more you outline and the more time you take in this very important step, the better off your image is going to look. If you don't take the time to do it right now, you're going to completely forget about it and end up just coloring it like a coloring page that you can, like when you were a child. So to take what you currently know about art and make it a few steps more complicated than what you're used to, you are identifying all of those teeny tiny little details by outlining them. If you see an area where it is gray matter, as I see right here, I do see little details in there, but it is not completely shaded. So those are all things that I want you guys to start to pay attention to. All right, so I'm going to finish this little eyeball. If you want to go ahead and do it along with me, that'll be really helpful. If you're having trouble being able to identify if you have drawn over a certain area, just double check your work. I'm using a mechanical pencil, and that is really helpful for this type of outlining because it's already got a nice sharp point. A well-sharpened pencil is very important for any kind of tracing. If you don't have a sharpened pencil, that is definitely going to make your lines a lot thicker than they need to be.